From the LCIF department, KaSondra Byrd, Benjamin Futansky, and Gillian Gibbs shall now guide us with some tips about a subject that has perplexed many of us many a times in the past: applying for LCIF grants.
Hello, Lions, and welcome to the session on applying for LCIF grants. My name is Gillian Gibbs, and I'm here today with my colleagues KaSondra Byrd and Benjamin Futansky. We are honored to be a part of the Isame virtual forum and are eager to share information with you on how to enhance your service through LCIF grants. Next, please. Today, we will present to you 10 tips on how to apply for grants, and we will also present examples of successful grant projects in Isame and direct you to further resources available to help you apply for grants. Next. LCIF gives support to Lions doing service in their communities and around the world. LCIF provides grants for large-scale projects that clubs can't do alone. Since 1968, LCIF has given out more than $1.1 billion in grants. Think about the millions of lives that Lions have changed through these grants. Our foundation changes lives around the world. Next, please. While LCIF offers numerous grant opportunities to empower Lions service, we realize it can sometimes be challenging to know where to begin. So KaSondra, Benjamin, and I are going to review a resource guide that was recently created to help Lions develop successful grant applications. This guide is called 10 Tips to Apply for an LCIF Grant and is available online. Next slide, please. The first tip in the guide is to identify a project that addresses an unmet need in your community. Lions know their communities well, including problems faced by community members, what resources are already available, and what the gap in service or need may be. We recommend conducting a needs assessment to develop the project around the services that are most important to your community members, and also to help guide priority setting and decision making. It's helpful to review existing data specific to your community and the issue you want to address. As well, it's important to speak to experts, other community leaders, as well as community members on what they observe and experience in the way of needs. As part of the needs assessment, it's also important to realistically evaluate the capacity of the Lions clubs in your district to commit to both fundraising for the project and managing the project throughout its lifespan. Strong commitment and involvement from Lions definitely leads to successful projects. Next slide, please. Once you have completed your community needs assessment and identified your project, the next step is to discuss your project idea with others who can provide guidance and resources. We recommend involving district leadership and LCIF coordinators early on in the process. They may have worked on LCIF grants in the past and have knowledge to share, so it's helpful to leverage these Lions networks. If the project is more technical or medical in nature, we advise working with local experts and partner organizations. In addition, the Foundation has technical advisors in the Diabetes and Sight First programs that can help Lions with project design. Lastly, I can't emphasize enough to reach out to staff early on in the process. We're always happy to review project drafts via email or discuss ideas over the phone. You don't have to wait until you have a perfect polished application in order to contact us. Staff can also provide guidance on the submission process and what to expect. Next slide, please. Once you have identified your project, it's important to research LCIF's various grant programs to determine which could fund your project. Next, please. As you can see from this slide, there are various programs, and each grant program has different criteria and types of projects that it's able to support. You can research all of these grant programs online at lionsclubs.org/grants. The district and the club community impact grant is the most flexible and supports a broad range of projects. Next, I'm going to pass the presentation on to KaSondra. Thank you.
Thank you, Gillian. As for tip number 4, partner with LCIF to ensure a successful application. Be sure that before submitting any grant application to LCIF, you do check to see if there are any current or open grant applications, as certain grant programs only allow applicant lions to have so many grant applications in progress at one time. And remember, LCIF staff is here to support you in preparing the best and strongest application as you can. Next slide. Tip number 5, before applying, learn which LCIF grant programs have a matching funds requirement. A strong financial commitment from the Lions can make a big difference in your grant application. Remember, local matching funding, if required, must be all cash. Donations in kind may be valuable to any project. However, the value of those donations in kind may not be converted to cash to count towards your local match. Local match can be funds that are directly contributed by the Lions, funds that are received through solicitation effort of the Lions, as well as funds from the community, other donors, and even the partner beneficiary organization. Next slide. Tip number 6. When preparing your grant application, be sure to answer all the application questions thoroughly and provide supporting documentation, including a detailed budget. The more information you provide, the more thorough a review staff can complete. If you skip questions or leave out information, that may delay the application process. Staff will definitely follow up with Lions to let them know if additional clarification is needed on the goals and objectives, or if certain documentation is missing. Be sure that if staff contacts Lions, that you respond within the deadline given by staff. Next slide. Tip number 7, include the required application approvals. Most applications require an endorsement by either the district cabinet or multiple district council. In obtaining this endorsement, a copy of the meeting minutes at which the application and project was endorsed would be required with the submission of the application. At the meeting, the project itself should be presented, outlined, including the amount being requested from LCIF, as well as the information on what the project will achieve. The cabinet or the council should endorse the project submission to LCIF. If this information would be missing from the application, staff would definitely let you know, and the application would not be able to move forward without that. Now, I'd like to hand it over to my colleague, Benjamin Futansky, for the next step.
Thank you, KaSondra. Tip number 8 is understanding how to submit a grant application. The grant application form itself should have an email address, and we prefer to receive applications via email, but they can also be sent in hard copy through the post to LCIF headquarters in Oak Brook, Illinois. Please include all supporting documentation requested in the application when you send this, as it will allow a more complete review of the application once we do receive it. Tip number 9, don't miss your chance. Be sure to meet grant application deadlines. Most grant applications going before the LCIF Board of Trustees are required to be received by LCIF at least 90 days ahead of a Board of Trustees meeting. Other grant applications, the DCG grant application or Leo Service grant application, for example, undergo an internal review process, and there's a rolling deadline for submission. We do ask that those are received at least 90 days before the estimated project start date. Always try and submit applications well in advance of any deadlines to give adequate time to review the application and offer any feedback to the grant applicant. Changes or additions be made before a final review. And tip number 10, please be patient after submitting your grant application. The review process is indeed a process. You can expect a regional program specialist to review the application, offer feedback through a preliminary review letter, and likely request additional information, suggest edits, and otherwise comment on the application. Your early response in responding to this preliminary review will help speed the application along in the process. However, we do ask patience. The idea with all applications is that they're developed to such a point that when they meet the LCIF Board of Trustees or other review body, LCIF is more than happy and excited to approve a grant and support your service projects. Possible outcomes from a board decision include a reduced amount and a conditional approval, which means that certain conditions would be placed upon the approval of a grant. The application might be tabled, requested more information, or denied. I'm happy to say that most grant applications that do reach the Board of Trustees are approved by the trustees. We're now going to talk about a number of project examples. The first one being a childhood cancer project in South India. This childhood cancer pilot grant helped establish child support facilities at Malabar Cancer Center. The Cancer Center serves both adults with cancer and children. However, the facilities for children were less than ideal. Through LCIF support, Lions in Kerala are providing a children's library, a theater area and play space that is going to benefit more than 60 children annually. So now when children go there, they have facilities designed for children. Keep in mind, they're spending many, many hours getting their cancer treatment. And little touches of kindness like this go a long way to making a child happy and helping them complete their treatment. Next, I'd like to turn it over to KaSondra, who's going to tell you about this wonderful matching grant project.
Thank you, Benjamin. Matching grants, as you know, support unmet needs for equipment and/or construction. This particular project here was to support an equipment need, specifically diagnostic medical equipment for the Sahaj Community Hospital in Nepal, District 325B2. This particular hospital actually served 2 large districts and 2 large municipalities, actually. The digital x-ray machine that they had and ultrasound equipment was outdated. The grant application was submitted to purchase new x-ray machine for general diagnostic cases, as well as an ultrasound machine to primarily be used in the maternal unit of the hospital for addressing prenatal diagnostic services. Right now, with the equipment, about 500 patients per month are receiving diagnostic tests for a total of 6,000 patients per year. The equipment will help improve the quality of life for the patients, as well as improve access to very much needed medical services. This application was a strong submission as it had 4 Lions Clubs financially contributing to the local match for the project. Now I'll pass it on to Gillian.
Thank you, KaSondra. There's a diabetes project from India that has been a wonderful example of successfully applying for and implementing a diabetes grant. The goal of this project is to expand diabetes education and awareness to the underserved through regularly organized diabetes screening, awareness, and counseling events at senior citizen centers and other locations throughout the district. The Lions of District 3233G2 partnered with the local diabetes center to plan this project. The local diabetes center is providing trained diabetologists to be actively involved in the project alongside Lions. The project is also training Lions with a medical background to deliver diabetes self-management education. And Lions are actively involved in all aspects of the project and organization of the screening events. This project was forced to change their strategy due to the COVID-19 pandemic. So they moved the training to a virtual format and reached even more people with trainings than originally planned. In addition, when pandemic restrictions limited screening events, they worked with local physicians to conduct smaller scale screenings at numerous clinics. So this is also a great example of Lions quickly adapting to the realities of the ongoing pandemic in order to meet their grant project goals. And I'll pass it back to you, Ben.
Thank you, Gillian. One last thing we wanted to talk about, and we're really excited to tell you about, is our Grants Toolkit webpage. This new webpage was launched within the last month or so. And we've tried to put all the resources for grant applicants and grantees in one place. That includes all the grant application forms, all the grant report forms, as well as any FAQs or other documents specific to any grant program, and general information such as this 10 tips to apply for a grant. We have a similar 10 tips to administer a grant, as well as a newly published document that compares all the various grant programs and gives information on what they fund and how to apply in one single place. So you can make an easy comparison and understand where might LCIF best support your project. So we do encourage you to find this new LCIF Grants Toolkit. The best way to locate it is to do a Google search. And if you just search for LCIF Grants Toolkit, the top hit should in fact be this webpage, which you see here. And do go check it out. We think that you'll find it to be a very valuable resource. And we're going to build this out over time with additional documents and other resources for Lions. Let me try and invite my colleagues, KaSondra and Gillian, back on the screen, as we all want to say thank you. We hope you appreciated this presentation. And as always, if there's any question about the content, do reach out to our departments and we'd be happy to answer any questions and help you through the grant process.